Well, what a great audience we have today. Thank you all for signing up for this course, and we're really excited that you're want to get engaged and improve your leadership skills. So hopefully today, when we have this dialogue, it will be interactive, and we can discuss some key points, and then we will go back and review ourselves and look at some coaching elements so we can all improve together. My name is Paige Day. I'm your instructor, your facilitator for today. And please, this is adult learning, so we're going to have interaction, we're going to have some fun. We might talk about some uncomfortable topics as well, because we're being introspective and looking at ourselves. But bottom line, we're all here to improve ourselves. We want to build relationships. We want to be better leaders, we want to build a better community, and that's what we're here for. As you can see, my audio-visual equipment is down, so we're going to go the old-fashioned way today. I've actually written stuff on a board. No chalk, but we're going to do the best we can. So I appreciate you all being patient with our little difficulties, but hey, we're leaders. We can march through this. The topic we're going to talk about today is the aura of leadership. When you see a really good leader or you hear somebody that's very powerful, people say, gosh, his presence is amazing. Her presence is amazing. She walks in a room and everyone stops and listens. Everyone turns to look. What is that? It's an aura. So metaphysical? Is it something that somebody's born with? Is it something that you can learn? There's been a whole train of thought in the past that leaders are born, not made. And I'm here to tell you today, I disagree. We are going to evaluate key elements within ourselves that all of us can build our own leadership from our own tools of experience, and we'll be good at it. We won't all be the same. We're not cloning leaders. We're building leadership skills, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So going back to the aura of leadership, we're talking presence. We're talking supernatural. We're talking what a great thing when you look at somebody and say that person has it all together. Now, if I came here today and I was in my running shorts and shoes and I was all sweaty with my hair up and it looks like I've been to the gym, right? Everyone said, oh, she was working out, she's fit, that's great. You know, we're eating healthy, everybody live a healthy environment. But who's my audience? Is it all of you dressed in a suit? No, I would be very effective if I was addressing people at the gym, but I wouldn't be effective coming up in front of you because it would be disrespectful. So you want to dress to impress, and we'll talk about appearance. The second thing is body language. We really have to watch our body language, because if you talk to somebody like this, we all know what that means. So we've got to open up. We got to think about that. We want to have our body language express what we're expressing inside, because people will glean from that. The other thing is communication skills. The key element to communicating is actually listening, and we're going to touch more on that in the future, because all of these are building blocks to develop the aura of leadership, and that's what we all want to obtain. Finally is energy. Now, everybody has different levels of energy. I have pretty high energy. I get excited about things, or I'm passionate about a subject, but that's all part of developing your leadership perspective, because you don't want to have too much energy and wear everybody out. So you have to learn how to balance that. And a good leader knows how to balance that. They know when to get excited and when to pull it back, because we're all building our presence. So let's take a minute and let's think about ourselves. You all here today, you're excited to brush up on your leadership skills. We want to develop ourselves. We're looking at key elements within ourselves to build a team and to guide others toward the vision, right? That's why we're all here. I look out and see all of you. Everybody's dressed well. Everybody's dressed to learn. You're eager to learn. I'm eager to be a part of this. So I didn't wear my old jeans and cowboy boots. I wanted to have a presence of authority that makes people respect what we're wearing, that we took the time to dress, that we looked at ourselves, made sure we were clean. Because let me ask you this. If you go to a class and somebody shows up in tennis shoes and flip-flops, are you going to respect what they have to say? I come from the fire service background, and I've been to many a meeting where people show up in faded t-shirts and flip-flops, and shorts, and they're the authority on the figure. Why are they the authority? Because they tell you they're the authority, and maybe they've had some good life experience and practical experience, but if you can't articulate that and communicate that and respect your audience enough to dress, to take the time to wear what you should wear, there's an element that's missing. So we need to understand that appearance is important. So let's take that. And that doesn't mean you have to be a movie star. That doesn't mean you have to be the best looking person on the planet or have the most expensive pair of Gucci loafers. No, it just means that you want to be professionally dressed. You want to make sure that you have the right attire for the right situation, like we talked about the gym versus this. And then you also want to respect your audience enough and the people that you work with so your attire reflects that. Let's move on to body language. Body language, very important. We talked about being closed off. We talked about being expressive. We talked about over-articulating our use of hands. That's something I had to work on for many years because I found that I like to express with my hands, and I still do it a little bit, but I've learned some things for control so I can keep my hands and not poke somebody's eye out. So we have to think about that body language too. People will say, well, they never listen to me. I'm never heard in a meeting, why should I care? Well, if you call on somebody and they put their head down and they bow or like blush or talk quietly or don't make eye contact like you need to do, you're going to be forgotten. Especially with a group like this. We have all of these leaders in this room and we want to be better and we want to be heard. But if you don't make eye contact, if you don't try to project your voice, if you close yourself off and you don't open yourself up to new experiences, you're going to lose something. So we'll work on that today together and we'll give positive feedback and everything about that because we want to encourage each other to open up our space. Now, I'm not talking about being a close face talker, and I'm not talking about poking people's eyes out, but I am talking about making sure that you open up because leaders listen. That's a great segue to the next thing, communication. Who in this room knows what the most important element of communication is? Yeah. Thank you. That's a very good point. However, what is the most important element of communication is listening. We have to really work on our listening skills as leaders. Because if somebody comes to you and you're in charge of a project, you're the head of the organization, you're dressed to impress, your body language is great, and they come to you with an idea, they come to you with a proposal, they come to you with a problem, and you talk over them, you don't listen to what they have to say, you don't respect their input, you've lost that element. You've lost that trust that we're all trying to gain. You can have this, but without good communication skills, you're going to fail. Now, there's different levels. People communicate differently. So we're going to work on some of this today. We're going to really evaluate what are our strengths and weaknesses when it comes to communicating. Are we good listeners? Are we open to what people have to say? Are we defensive? Do we listen? Do we actually articulate the words and put them into a process so we can make progress happen? Do we do that? Are we open to that? We need to think about that because all of these elements build relationships. And we're talking about aura of leadership. You want to say, you know what? Paige, she's great. She listened to what I had to say. She appreciated my comments and we put it into action. I believe in her. That's what you want to hear. And when you have that buy-in from your organization, you're going to be so incredibly successful. Now, the last element, energy. This is something that ties all of this in. You're looking good, you're open, you're communicating, you're listening, you're using the right type of skills, and you have the energy to project the mission. Hey, we live and work in a very complex, difficult world. And it's hard to get out there day after day after day and display the level of energy that you have to be competitive, to build teams, to compete, to make changes, to build businesses, to create partnerships and go toward the future. This is complicated. It takes a lot of energy. So what do we do for ourselves? Well, in order to maintain this level of energy, we have to take care of our bodies, right? We have to watch what we put in. We have to exercise. We have to challenge our brains. We have to engage in groups. We have to do things out of work as well, because we want to have the whole purpose. We want to have the whole, we want to put it all together, because that's what community building is all about. Now, the thing that you have to understand about energy, too, to maintain those energy levels is you need to have a work-life balance. And we're going to talk about that, too, because I know I've been in a situation where my work-life balance was way out of whack. And it destroyed everything because I wasn't putting the right things in the right place. And we're going to talk about that, too. Now, before I hand out the coaching questions and exercises to all of you here so we can work on them a little bit and talk about them, I want to explain what all of this, the aura of leadership, the presence, all of this goes into. We've talked about cultivating relationships. We've talked a little about communication skills, listening. But the key element here, folks, is you've got to keep your word. If you tell somebody you're going to do something, you've got to keep that level of trust going. Because we're formulating relationships, we're building a community, we're being better leaders because we're making that commitment to each other. And that's the thing that we have to understand. We want to commit to each other because this is what makes us leaders. One of the best things I ever heard before we break to start on this exercise is if you think you're leading and you turn around and there's nobody behind you, you're just standing in a line. So let's think about that. Here's some coaching questions that I have for each one of you. Take the time. This is completely informal. Go have a break. Fill it out. Take about 10 minutes, and then we'll evaluate them together. Thank you so much.